Welcome to Daily Bible Study. Our chapters today are Deuteronomy 6, 7, and 8. And if you read those chapters, there's some stuff in it that you're like, man, he's getting them. Like, when you are enjoying all the benefits of life and everything that someone else has made possible for you, if you still forget who did all that, right, which is me. So God's saying all the stuff that you're about to benefit from, if you forget that came from me, you're going to deal with the consequences of that. And so as I was reading through the chapters today, the end of chapter 8 really spoke to me in form of a question. And so I just want to read that verse, and then we'll kind of talk about that for a few moments here. So in verse 20 of Deuteronomy chapter 8, it says, like the nations that the Lord makes perish before you, so shall you perish, because you would not obey the voice of your Lord and God. So because you didn't obey the voice of the Lord, Yahweh, the Most High, he's going to make you deal with the consequence of your actions like the other nations did. What does that mean? Does that mean that we have to measure up to a standard? Well, for New Covenant believers, Jesus is the standard. And so we don't have to worry about strict adherence to a code of conduct or the law. But there is something to be said about this idea of rejecting the Lord and rejecting his commandments. And so the question is, what does life look like, or what are the benefits of being in a covenant relationship with the Lord? Well, one of the major benefits with that I believe the writer of Deuteronomy was saying, particularly in that chapter 8, verse 20, is the natural consequence of us rejecting God in our lives. Therefore, rejecting the goodness, the blessings, the favor that he has given us. All of that, the opposite of that is hardship, trouble, pain. I'm not talking about going through difficulty. What the writer of Deuteronomy was saying is that if God isn't in your life, then all the nations that have crumbled around you because they rejected me as their Lord, the same thing is going to happen to you. And so if we look at our lives and we kind of put that into place as to what would it look like if I were to give my life to the Lord? Well, the Bible makes it clear to us that a life that is dedicated to the Lord isn't free from hardship, but it is full of the blessings of God. And so we see God's people benefiting from that and having stability in their lives, having the blessings of God abound in their lives, even in the midst of hardship, knowing that God is with you. It means you're not going to crumble, you're not going to fall, you're not going to stumble. You won't be overwhelmed by any hardship, right? Because God is with you. And so the absence of God being in our lives is what the Lord was reminding them about. All these blessings that you have, if I take them away because you reject me, and therefore they're going to go away because you don't want me in your lives, because you can't have the blessings without the relationship, right? So if you want the blessings, then that comes with me being a part of your life and being the Lord of your life. If you reject the Lord your God, and you're rejecting all the blessings that come with that. And as a result of that, you're going to deal with the consequences of not having his blessing on you. And that's what he was telling the nation in this moment. Don't forget all these blessings that you have, where they come from. And for us, I think that's a message we need to be reminded of today. And so what are the benefits of being in a relationship with the Lord? Not only do you get the blessings of God, but you get to be in covenant relationship with the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. What are the issues with rejecting that? Well, we see that the opposite of the blessings of God is to live a life absent from God's hand in your life. And that's terrifying to even think about that, because we don't even really fully grasp the fact that he calls the heavens into being and he orchestrates everything in our universe. So to have him absent from our lives, that sounds like hell. That's a terrible place to even think about. So something to think about today. Be thankful that we don't have to follow the strict guidelines that the believers in the Old Testament were required to do, that just covered them and just made impossible for them to engage in relationship through the high priest. But we have the privilege to boldly go into the throne room of grace and to access the Lord through Christ. Christ has made us righteous today. And so let's remember that and not let those blessings just be squandered and forget that, okay? I love you guys. Hope that you enjoy the rest of your week and that you stay with us for these daily Bible